Hello, hello. How's your week going? So happy to be here with you today. We have lots to talk about. I'm going to start by saying if you see this recording on YouTube, then you will see I'm in a sweatshirt. I am completely makeup free. And I was just, raging against the patriarchy. This particular week is International Women's Week. And I just felt like being all natural today. And I shared on social. If we're not following each other, let's follow each other. I shared on social. It is so uncomfortable from my programming to come to work like makeup free in my comfies. Like that does not come natural. As an ex-executive, I was always, especially being the only woman in the room, by the way, who, all my male colleagues, their wives stayed home 100% of the time. And so they were stay-at-home moms. And so they didn't have anything to worry about, like on the kid front. Like my husband and I are both, working parents. And so I always felt, being the only woman in the room, that I needed to bring my A game every day, fully dressed, full makeup, nice hair, the whole thing. So we're going to be talking about corporate trauma in one of these upcoming episodes because it's so important for these sneaky ways that we've been conditioned to carry over and make things harder for ourselves in our everyday life. So this is like a little bit of a tangent, but I want to bring it up here because when I shared it on social, I can't tell you how many messages I got that were like, that I have corporate trauma too. It's like so sneaky and it shows up in such like mysterious ways. So it was so uncomfortable for my nervous system to just even like record this video and have it evergreen, right? With like all natural. And it's not that I'm not comfortable with myself. It's just not what I was taught. And so literally the work we do in the Healing Collective, in one-on-ones, in anything that I offer is to evaluate everything you're taught. And like, does this make sense for you? No, what makes sense for me today is that I had a child who was puking all night and I have a full day of work and I just literally did not have or want to invest the 45 minutes getting ready this morning. I would rather have had that, getting a little extra sleep so that I could be fresh for my clients. And so I'm bringing that here. We're going to be talking more about that because corporate trauma is what I call like a little T trauma. It's not, sexual childhood abuse or physical abuse or emotional abuse or divorce or rape, right? Like the child loss, like the big traumas that we think about. And sometimes because it's not a big trauma, the way that we've been conditioned and taught, it's sneaky and we don't recognize it. And if we don't recognize it, don't have awareness of it, then we can't change it. So stay tuned for that. It's going to be a great conversation. Today, we are going to talk about the philosophy behind the work that I do and what I call the philosophy behind lifelong healing. So what I'm going to share with you today is all my own intellectual property. It's how I work with my clients. And I actually have a graphic that is going to be really helpful. And I'll link it in the show notes for you to see the way that we do the healing so that it does resolve at the nervous system level, at the body level, and it does resolve lifelong. So if you're watching me, you're going to see me referring to my graphic as we walk through, as I walk through this today, because I tell my clients all the time, like when you invest in something, you're investing in you, right? Like you're not investing in that person that you're buying from. You're investing in you, and it is your job to get the knowledge from that person you're buying from so that that investment is a great investment. But when it comes to healing, you want to know, because it is sacred, like I consider healing sacred, you want to know everything you can about what's going to go on inside of a healing container so that you can do a gut check and make sure it's a good fit for you. Because for the first time ever, I'm announcing it here before I'm announcing it anywhere else. Today and tomorrow, I am doing a pre-sale for the Healing Collective. It's the first time I've ever done a pre-sale. It's going to be $500 off the Healing Collective if you join today or tomorrow. And all you have to do is fill out the application and send it in before the 15th. I think that's the date. Let me look. Before Wednesday, the 15th at midnight Pacific time. And this is perfect for you if you're listening to this and my philosophy that I'm going to go through resonates with you and you're like, yes, 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 I love it. Or if you've been watching the Healing Circle, curious about the Healing Circle, and you're just like a hell yes, I wanted to incent you to join us, really. Like, I want to give back, to you. And we're just in a season where I just think that, you could use the $500. So that's what I'm doing. I am giving you an opportunity to save some money on your investment. So the Healing Collective is a $6,000 investment for the 12-week immersion experience. I'm telling you all about it today. But if in the next 2 days, it's going to be $5,500. So you save $500. I have never done anything like this. I usually will give you my time, or I will give like a bonus masterclass. And I really never, ever discount anything that I do ever. So this is really special. And I'm really, really excited. I'm really, really excited to do it for you. So, by the way, I'll link the application in the show notes, or you can certainly go to any of my socials or my website. There's a whole page for the Healing Collective where you can join there too. Okay, so let's talk about my philosophy, the philosophy I use inside of the Healing Collective and inside my one-on-one, and basically the philosophy that I have been developing over the past 2 years. And this is my own intellectual property. Okay. I'm not borrowing this from someone else. No one taught me to be a healing coach. No one, this is mine. And I'm so proud of that. And I want every single one of you to own what is yours. Yes, I've made lots of investments. I am, master's degree and certified trauma coach and all of that. But what I've done in the Healing Collective, the reason I call it the collective is because I have taken bits and pieces of everything, and I have ran it through my own filter and my own healing journey. And the Healing Collective has been created out of so much love for wanting to help other people move through their healing at a deeper level, at a faster rate than I was able to without these tools. That is why I'm so passionate about it. And so I think, though, that it's important for you to understand my whole philosophy around it. So the graphic, if you're driving, you're folding laundry or whatever, you can go to my social. I'll make sure it's there this whole week so that you can refer to it. But think of the bottom. If you've ever seen Maslow's hierarchy of needs, just think of the bottom of a pyramid. So the first two at the very bottom of the pyramid, the first two at the bottom of the pyramid are what I call foundational healing. And what that means is, and inside the foundational healing are nervous system techniques and embodiment. And what I mean by foundational healing is one of the questions I get around the Healing Circle. The Healing Collective is like, is my trauma too much for the group? Is my trauma too much for you? Right? Like, is my stuff, am I too much? And this is something that women from the beginning of time have been questioned on. Are we too much? Are our feelings too much? There is your trauma, your lived life experience is not too much for the Healing Collective. In fact, it's exactly why I created it. The Healing Collective is an oasis for your lived experience, your trauma, your healing, your pain. No, it is a place to take it. Honestly, like it is a safe place for you to come with all of your things, all of your imperfections, all of the things that have happened to you, or maybe that you've done, and you bring them and we heal them together. And in the foundational, the nervous system techniques and the embodiment, no matter what the trauma, the nervous system techniques and embodiment techniques are the foundation because they apply to all trauma at all levels. So we've got the big T trauma, some of which I've mentioned earlier. So this is not like an exhaustive list, just to give some examples of what I've seen inside my one-on-one practice and inside the Healing Collective. Sexual abuse, childhood sexual abuse, child loss, divorce, loss of a loved one, rape, emotional abuse, physical abuse. These are big T traumas. These are, when you think of trauma, these are kind of like the things that come up. Homelessness. Okay. These are kind of the things that come up. Little T trauma are traumas, and we're going to get into this in the next couple of weeks deeper here as well. But little T traumas are traumas that we often say to ourselves, well, it wasn't that bad, right? Or you don't even recognize it's a trauma at all, like the corporate trauma I started with. Like that's a little T trauma. The fact that I was exhausting myself, waking up at 5 a.m. every morning because I had to leave my house at 6:15 to drive an hour and a half to work so that I could show up there and look my best and be my best. I mean, that is little T trauma. It stuck with me. It has shaped, my nervous system. It's shaped my nervous system into now believing that I have to keep up that exhausting schedule, right? Little T traumas can also be an argument with a friend that was very painful. It could be something in childhood, like being excluded from a friend group in childhood. It could be financial distress. It could be business stress. It could be a period of overworking. It could be burnout. It could be a period of underworking and not feeling like you're contributing, right? So little T trauma are the things that what I hear the most is people say, well, I don't really have any trauma, right? And again, trauma is just anything that's too much, too fast, too soon, or too little for too long. And I have had clients during the healing circle and say, I don't really have any trauma, but I want it to come in because I think that this is important work and I want to learn about the nervous system. And if that is you, hell yes, come into the Healing Collective. I am here for you. What I want to tell you though, is it was the first session after the person said they didn't have any trauma that I was able to identify trauma that they didn't recognize as trauma. Okay. So yes, I am very skilled at that. And I'm not like sitting around looking for trauma, but I mean, it just kind of happened. I mean, one question led to the next and boom, there it was on the table. And she literally said, I was afraid we were going to get to this. Okay. So we all have things. So whether your things feel really big or whether your things feel small and insignificant, like a lot of people will also say to me, you've lost a child. So I feel bad bringing my stuff to you because of what you've been through. And I will tell you, I do this because I want to. I do this because it fulfills me. And I'm never comparing my lived life experience to yours. I just know that I have the tools to help you. So I never, ever, ever want anyone to feel like maybe their trauma doesn't measure up. Those are the exact words someone has used with me before. So there's no trauma too small. There's no trauma too big when it comes to foundational healing. Inside of the Healing Collective, the foundational healing applies to all trauma, little t, big things, small things. And in those foundational healing, the bottom of the pyramid, the 5 days to a calmer you that I talked about in the last podcast, if you have not gotten yourself in that mini course, you're going to want to do it. It's incredible. And it tells you the entire bottom of the pyramid. Like I'm literally giving you a piece of the pyramid of how I work with my clients, a foundational piece of my practice, at no charge. So in fact, I'll just link it here too. You just make sure you get your hands on it. So the nervous system techniques include, orienting, they include containment, they include nervous system tracking. Okay. Then on top of that, we add in embodiment. And embodiment is actually having the ability to drop from just being in your head all day long into the body. So now we've got the tools in embodiment to drop into the body and actually feel what is going on in the body. So the nervous system techniques allow you to calm your system enough to get from the asympathetic down to the parasympathetic, that sympathetic overdrive down to the parasympathetic, and calm yourself enough so that we can drop into the body. And I teach you how to do this inside the Healing Collective. And then we use embodiment techniques, which is like tracking sensations and, seeing if they have a temperature and a color and a shape, and just really putting some tactical words around what it is that we're feeling inside. And again, actually, I don't think I told you this, but what's new in this round is every week I am providing a video education so that I am making sure that you're experiencing healing, but you're also learning about why we're doing the things that we do. So for me, the quickest way to healing is like, I will do what you tell me to do, but I need to know why. Like, I need to know this is my body. This is my healing. This is my sacred space. And so I'll do it, but I want to know why. So when I started to actually learn why we are doing the nervous system techniques first, and then embodiments, and then moving up, we're doing completing nervous system cycles. It's like when I learned why we were doing it that way, I could get behind it. And I started to feel relief so much faster, which was honestly like all I ever wanted. So, the embodiment helps us be in our bodies. And so there's a series of techniques that I teach you. And my philosophy is that between the nervous system techniques and the embodiment techniques, these are the tools that I use with everyone, no matter what the trauma. So then the next kind of, once we've done that, then we move into kind of the middle of the pyramid. And that's where we get our personalized healing, because I am well aware that your lived experience is yours and yours alone, that your nervous system is a unique snowflake, just like your biology, right? Like just like your DNA. And I respect that. And in the Healing Collective, we honor that. And so never would I want to create a group program that applies generalities to everyone. I actually want you to have a personalized individual healing plan for the rest of your life. And the way I do that is by giving you the foundational things and then moving into what is unique and true for you. So what this looks like is we start to complete nervous system cycles that this is really around the trauma that you're bringing to the group, the trauma that you're willing to work with, with me, that you tell me about, that we work on, whether it's big T or little t, doesn't matter. Completing nervous system cycles is a very specific, intricate type of coaching that I have been trained in. And when you are experiencing a trauma, many times all the time, but the reason it stores in the body, if it stores in the body, is because in the midst of the trauma, we had to thwart our body's natural tendency to, it's like, think of like a crescent moon, to completely heal and go through all of the stages, which I'll teach you all about inside the Healing Collective, of the trauma. For example, you're a child and your parent is an alcoholic and they are yelling at you, you are experiencing emotional abuse. And instead of being able to cower down and cry and kind of go into yourself, or potentially, say something back or stick up for yourself, whatever you may have wanted to do naturally in that moment, you knew it would get you in more trouble. So you don't do it. That's what I mean by thwarting your body's natural response to the trauma. You don't do it. You stay frozen. You stay still, because in order to survive, right, and make the best case scenario out of that situation, your body does what it needs to do. Your nervous system is incredibly smart. So what we do is we go back in a very, very skilled way, and we finish some of those cycles. So that is really beautiful, sacred work. And that's the type of work I do all day, every day with my one-on-one clients. And we do it inside the Healing Collective as well. But we only move as fast as your body will allow. So if we don't get to that space in your body within the first round, let's say, many of my clients will do many rounds of the Healing Collective because we move at the pace of the body. And sometimes my overachievers are like, let's get in there and let's get it done. But the truth is, we don't want to do too much healing too fast, because then we're healing trauma in a traumatic way. We're healing trauma too much, too fast, too soon, which is the opposite of what we're trying to do. We're slowing things down so that we can feel and your body can heal. So in that personalized healing, that's where we do completing of the nervous system cycles. And then that's also where we will talk about the experience at hand. And so that's where the coaching comes in, and you will share with me and I will coach you and I will help lead you to safely speak the experience. Speaking your lived experience in a safe space, especially in a safe group, is one of the most healing things that you can do. We're taught that our pain and our grief needs to be hidden. We're taught that hard things should be dealt with alone. And the whole premise of the Healing Collective is that we don't have to do this alone. And in fact, when we do it in a group, we accelerate our healing, because whatever we're keeping secret, or just between me and one other person or two other people, and not to say that I'm asking you to put it on Facebook, for God's sakes, but whatever we feel like is a secret, when we start sharing those parts of us where we feel shame, the shame loses its power over us. And I can't describe to you the feeling of freedom that comes with that. So talking through the experience and allowing me to safely coach you is one of the ways where you have your personalized healing experience inside of the group, inside of the Healing Collective. And then at the very top of the pyramid is mindset. This is where mindset comes in. Now, you are talking to the girl whose podcast used to be called The Six-Figure Mindset. Okay. That's what this podcast was called back in the day. So you were talking to the woman who really used mindset to do everything in her business, in her life. And mindset, I've said this a million times and I'll say it another million, only got me so far. But it is important to use our brain as a tool. Mindset is important. It's just not the foundational building blocks of my philosophy any longer, now that I know this other work exists. So we do use mindset at the very top, but we use it as a supportive tool for the process. And this will come in coaching, and it's very, very helpful. Let's say I'm working with a business owner and the coaching or the trauma that's showing up is around money. By the way, we talk about money trauma in almost every session. Money, there's so much trauma around money. there's generational trauma. There's, so many of our ancestors lived through the Great Depression, and all of that lives in us. And so, for example, it is very helpful once we have healed, once we have done nervous system techniques, embodiment, completing the cycles, talk about the experiences. That's when we get into using mindset. And the mindset I use is all my own intellectual property. It's something I've used far before I even knew coaching existed. And I teach that to you in the videos inside of the program. So that is the philosophy. And I thought it was very important to be able to explain to you, the way that we would work. The immersion experience, the Healing Collective immersion experience, is a 12-week journey. We meet weekly as a small group for 60 minutes. You will also, like I said, new this time, have video information, basically me teaching, so that you are learning while we're healing. I can't stress that enough. I think it's just so important. So you're going to be learning while you're healing, so that when we do get on our group calls, we can focus on, we will always calm the nervous system. We will always do the nervous system techniques and some embodiment. We will always start with that on our calls. And then we will go right into the coaching, and I will coach as many of you as needed. I mean, anyone that's been with me knows, sometimes our calls run over, and I'm happy to do that for as long as I can. I'm happy to extend the time for as long as I'm able to, so that we can make sure that everyone is feeling seen and heard and healing inside of the group. And then also what you would be investing in outside of, the weekly education and the weekly group coaching calls for 12 weeks. You'll also have Slack support, which is just, I don't know, it just feels so nourishing to be able to give this level of support to a group. I don't know many groups that give this level of support. And I just really feel it's very important for healing, for the sacred space. And the group gives you access to me and the other group members for anything that comes up in between sessions. All of our sessions are recorded, so if you miss one, you can always go back and watch. A lot of my clients like to go back and watch the coaching they received, because you're able to receive it, right, the first time around, but also there's gems when you go back and watch yourself or your colleagues or friends in the group being coached. So I do record those for you. You have access to those. All right. I am so thrilled to be opening this again. This is just the most special group. I love the women it attracts, and I really invite you. This is the next step. If you are diligently listening to the podcast, if you are, following me on social and loving the things, there's no reason not to join. And certainly if you have any questions, reach out to me. I'm happy to answer them, but especially with the $500 savings, $5,500 for the 12 weeks, the benefits that my clients, we've had so many benefits, but the benefits that they share just are everything and so much more I could have hoped. So the big things that, off the top of my head that I remember, and you'll see this in an email I send out, are just more energy, better sleep, more focus, better business decisions, quicker business decisions. This is why within the group, your revenue spikes. The quantum leap happens is because when you're able to regulate your system, much less heal past experiences, regulation alone is going to help you get so much more done in so much less time. Better relationships with themselves, with their children, with significant others, and then of course the benefits of healing and the benefits of feeling the freedom within your body for healing. So I cannot wait to have you there. Please reach out if you have any questions. You can apply using the link below. Do not sleep on this presale. If you know you're a yes or you're on the fence, get in on this. I want as many of you to get in on this as possible. All right, friends. I will talk to you next week. Bye.